So what I did was that I hired a wedding planner in both locations. So the first one was in Seville in Spain, and the second one was in Ile-de-Ré in France. And so I hired a planner in each of those places. But what we did was that after the big wedding in Spain, we went on our big honeymoon. So we went on our 3-week honeymoon to Japan.
That's a nice break, I guess. From
oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Morning everyone, welcome to our coffee morning sessions. We're super excited to get chatting about different things about the wedding industry and how we can help you further.
So yeah, Charlie, maybe we can talk a little bit more like personally from your experience as well as a bride who's done it before, not once, but twice.
To the same man.
To the same man.
To the same man, let's just put it
in different locations.
Yes.
In different destinations. So how do you feel like the planning process was, also coming from your experience as planner, and then also how was your experience after being married, after having sort of that peak of excitement? How do you...
So it was interesting. So we got married in 2018.
Yes.
And we met in 2013. Yeah, 2013. We got engaged in late 2016, and I had just set up the business that same year before we got engaged. So I was kind of determined to, initially I was like, oh my God, I'll do it myself, great. Yeah. And then very quickly I was like, no, because I had already done a few weddings, and I was like, oh my God, if something goes wrong, I'm not going to enjoy my day. So what I did was that I hired a wedding planner in both locations. So the first one was in Seville in Spain, and the second one was in Ile-de-Ré in France. And so I hired a planner in each of those places, but I made it very clear to them that I'm a planner and I'm going to want things done a certain way, and I'm going to want to have a huge impact on the design and on the styling of everything. We wanted to make sure that both weddings were quite different. So the one in Seville was very much an evening do, tuxedos, long gowns, and we did our civil ceremony there the day before, just with our witnesses and our close friends and family. And then the next day we were 265, I think, and we did our first look, we saw each other, and we went to do a few photos. And then we arrived at the venue, and then we greeted every single person as they were coming through the door. A lot of people, especially the Spanish guests, were a bit frazzled that there wasn't a church do. But I'm not religious, and my husband was brought up Catholic but refused to do his confirmation because he had too many unanswered questions. So for us it wasn't ever on the cards to get married in the church. But we did loads of other Spanish traditions which were amazing. And then 5 months later we got married on the 18th of August 2018, sorry, I would have been very young. We got married in France in Ile-de-Ré, and that was where I'd always wanted to get married. And there we were 65 guests, and we had one of my oldest friends marry us, and it was a lovely blessing, and that's the date that we actually celebrate our wedding anniversary.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, like, how did you go? So I guess there were both different experiences for like you as a couple and for your guest, of course.
Yeah.
And so I imagine you had different feelings about the two weddings and the process.
It was very different. We also made sure that the dress code was different. So as much as in Spain it was tuxedo, long gowns, in France it was very much morning suits, cocktail attire with hats, and it was very much a kind of day wedding. So we made sure that all the vibe was different. I would say that about 70% of the people that came to France had also come to Spain, and the people that did that, they said, they were like, okay, when's your third wedding? Because you're just getting better and better at this, and this is amazing. But it was lovely because people really said, this is this is so you, like this is very much you, and that was the best compliment that we could have had. I think what was lovely was, so we were engaged for nearly 2 years, and initially when we got engaged we were like, okay, so do we rush and we do it next year and then it'll be just shy of a year, or do we take our time? And we opted for the take our time, enjoy being fiancés, because fingers crossed you won't be a fiancé again, and just enjoy that process. And I do think, having worked with a lot of couples over the last few years when the process has been cut down, you are having to talk about the wedding every single day.
Yeah, it can cause stress.
It can become very stressful if you've given yourself 5 or 6 months to plan the whole thing. You're talking wedding every day.
It is a job. When you are planning a wedding, it's like having a job.
Yes.
You know?
It truly
making a lot of
is.
decisions every day.
Yeah. Whereas if you give yourself more time, you can space out those chats, you can space out those meetings, you can give yourself more breathing space.
There's no rush. Like the wedding will still be there, you know? And exactly, you'll be more aware the more and more time goes on.
I think there's no rush, but I do think that nowadays with people getting married later in life, there is that time crunch of wanting to have babies.
Absolutely.
And for us, we very much calculated. We were like, okay, so we either take more time to get married, and then as soon as we're married, we start trying, or we get married sooner and then we give ourselves a year of enjoying to be newlyweds, and then we'll start trying. So
you have to decide.
We kind of made that decision. We met when I was 25, so we met relatively young, and then we got married the year, we got married the year I turned 30. So we had time. But you know, we have a lot of friends, and a lot of my clients are in their mid to late 30s. So, you know, they're under much more of a time crunch of like, we need to get married and we need to have babies if they want to have children. So, you know, I think that's changed in that sense. But what we did was that after the big wedding in Spain, we went on our big honeymoon. So we went on our 3-week honeymoon to Japan.
That's a nice break, I guess. From
it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just the two of us, and I remember the first day on the flight, I texted my sister and I was like, I don't know that we've ever been this long together, just the two of us. I was like, I hope I still like him by the end of it, which obviously I did, and it was amazing because actually it got rid of all of the noise and it was just us doing this amazing trip together. And it was really, really amazing. But then what we did was we came back, and then there was still France, like finishing bits for France. And then the weekend after France, the following week, we did a mini moon. And we went to Capri for our mini moon because we'd always wanted to go to Capri. It was the end of the summer, and we just did 4 days in Capri just to kind of like tie it all up and be like, okay, our wedding and honeymoons are now done. And I think, you know, a lot of people are putting off their honeymoons.
I definitely wouldn't do that, because I think you need, like, after such a big event, to go back to your day-to-day. It's just too drastic. I understand, and now couples, what they're doing is like taking their honeymoon maybe after a year on their first year anniversary, and I think that's great for like a longer sort of a long haul honeymoon. But definitely do, like, even if it's like a break nearby, like a spa resort,
a mini moon, come on, like flights in Europe are so cheap. You can escape to anywhere for a 3-day weekend, and just
you need to
call it a mini moon. Call it a mini moon, call it a romantic escapade, call it whatever you want, and make it special, because you've been surrounded by so many people, answering to so many people. Like, you need to just refocus on the two of you.
I agree.
And I think it's really important. I genuinely do.
Yeah, same. I think, and that's what we advise as well. We would never, even if you're sort of holding off on doing your sort of bigger trip, which I think it makes sense, because it can actually be quite tiring after your wedding to take off and like have to deal with 12 hours.
But also financially.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for watching us. We look forward to seeing you soon again on a new episode of the Coffee Morning Sessions.